All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Beyond Limbs, Amputee Answers and Options. Today we are with Christy Christensen, and we're going to talk about several things today, but in this video we're just going to tell her story and talk about the challenges that she had as a kid growing up as an amputee. And Christy, go ahead and start and just tell us how you got to where you were an amputee. I know you had a lot of control over it.
Tons of control. So when I was born is when it was congenital, so it never grew right in the beginning. So the right side I was 16 inches, the left side I was 19 inches at birth. So it just never grew. And so then my parents had to make the choice of having it amputated or being able to try and get like bone lengthening and things like that. So they decided to do amputation. And so that happened when I was 16 months old. And then when I was 2 is when I got my first leg. And then it was just, back then, it was just like a stick, just a pirate leg. No knee, no ankle, just a stick.
I've always wanted a pirate leg.
The funny thing about that, I've never dressed up as a pirate for Halloween. And everyone's, what are you talking about? You have a perfect leg, like you need to do it. But so some things like fast forward with it, I'm the oldest of 4 kids. And so my parents just had to adapt their parenting to the medical needs I had. And so my brothers and sister just came along with it. But when I got into elementary school, it was a whole different story in kindergarten. Kids didn't know what to do. And so there was bullying about my leg and how like I'd come home crying and I wouldn't want to go back to school. And so my mom was like, what do we do in this situation? Because she needs to go to school. We don't want her to be bullied and upset. So how can we make this better? And so she came up with the idea to do like a show and tell about my leg in kindergarten. So in kindergarten, she called my teacher and said, we want to do this, and just explain to the kids, this is what Christy's leg is and this is how she adapts to it. And so in kindergarten, I stood up on the table, had my shorts on, took the leg off, and my mom explained the parts of the prosthetic leg. She explained what my stump was and how it worked and what happened, why I lost it. And then at the end of it, she did a hopping competition with all the kindergartners. Because I was a really fast hopper. So we did that around the desks and the cubbies, and I just remember being in front of everybody, and then the rest of the kindergartners just, can't do this is hard. And it was awesome for me to see. It gave me a boost in being confident in that way. But then she also asked me if I'd be okay if the kids came up and just looked at my stump and saw if they wanted to touch it, would that be okay? And I think that opened up for me to be able to be open with my leg rather than hide it. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I remember kids coming up and they were just looking and they're curious. Little kids are curious. And so they touched my stump and they're like, okay. And then after that, if kids from other grades started to bully me, it was like the kindergarten kids like rallied around. And no, this is her leg and this is what happened. And they would just, it was fine. So it built like this community of.
I wonder if that would take you into the cool kid section or the protected kid section. Yeah. I know that when I got my leg amputated, I was worried about, I didn't even want to see my stump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So letting people come up and look, and that's cool. And I'll talk about seeing those issues in a different video in more detail. But I was worried how I was going to react. Yep. The first time I saw my stump.
Yeah.
And I didn't even want to touch it. And then I came here to Scott, and Scott's, no, you got to massage. Scott or Tim, one of the two was like, you got to massage it.
And
I was
nerves and totally.
And so we'll go into that in a different video. But so you became the cool kid.
I became the cool kid. But with that, with being afraid to touch it, 2 things. So when I was little and had the first amputation, it fell off when I was in the stroller. The bandage fell off. And so the first time I saw it, my mom said I freaked out. It was different, right? Yeah. But then when I was 19, I had to get a stump revision surgery. And so that, I remember being like, I don't want to touch, I don't want to see this. Can we just I know it's going to look different. How is it going to look? So it was scary. Yeah. It was scary to do that. So you could say after becoming the cool kid at school, there was another time, it was second grade, and I remember I was really good at just playing jump rope and having the rope with the kids. But I really wanted to learn how to jump rope. And so what I did is, I remember as I'm twisting the rope for my friends at recess, I remember watching them and like trying to figure out the mechanics of how are they jump roping? How can I jump rope with a fake leg? And I just vividly remember this because it was such a cool moment for me, because I figured out, okay, there's a rhythm, there's this, and then my friends knew I wanted to jump rope, and so they worked with me and we figured it out, and I learned how to jump rope, and that was so cool. As a second grader, just to be like, I can jump rope. And we could do handstand and we could run on the playground and stuff like that, but just having that as, no, this is something I want to do, and I figured it out. That was really cool as a little second grader.
Well, I think I was telling you when we were talking beforehand about the kid that I grew up with, that he was below the knee. I believe he was left like me, but how he would play kickball.
Yeah.
And this is before all the cool legs or the cool feet.
Just a stick.
And he would kick the ball, and then he would run the bases, and he would just have a skip in his run.
Yeah.
And we didn't think anything of it. We knew why he was skipping that way. We knew about it, and he just acted like everybody and was playing in recess with everybody. And it was, we never thought anything different of him. I don't think he was ever bullied that I was aware of. He was a couple of years younger than me, so I wasn't in his class, but I do remember recesses and stuff like that. And he couldn't play football, so he was always the football team manager.
Yeah.
So that he was always included in the sports. If it was I don't know if I remember he was on the football team as the manager. I don't remember if he was in the basketball team, but he wasn't afraid to participate in different things.
Yeah, that we can fast forward to high school. So in high school, junior high and high school, I played the piccolo and I played the flute. And then again, my friends were like, hey, we're going to do marching band. But I was like, oh, check me out. I can't do marching band. That's fine. I'll just be in the concert band. But sophomore year, they're talking about the parades and these different competitions and all this stuff. And I was like, that sounds so cool. I want to be able to do that. So I approached the teacher and I just said, hey, I want to do marching band next year, but I don't really know how it's going to work. And he said, great, let's just figure it out. And so my junior year, we did marching band. And that year, there was like part of me, like I wanted to do it and be successful, but there was this other part of me that kind of used my leg as like a cop out to get out of some of the parades and things. But which, I mean, I think that just happens when you have something difficult. But so my junior year, we did that, and they would have a wheelchair going down the parade route in case I needed to sit. And really that just turned to be embarrassing to me, because I was like, I can do it. I need to do it. And so anyways, so my senior year came and I made the goal to march every parade and march every field show. And not even just the field show. Before, I had to work on my gait, because before junior year, I was very wobbly back and forth. And then senior year, and you could just spot me from the box, be like, oh, that's Christy, because of how my gait was. And I was like, no, I want this year to have good marching, so you can't see who I am, and do all the parades. And I did it that year. And so that was really cool and just propelled me forward.
And this is probably before all the cooler feet and
stuff? So at that time I had a foot that you could adjust. It just had different notches that you could adjust the heel height with, and then just a regular, I think it was probably a hydraulic knee, so it had a little bit of resistance. But I remember in marching band, you're supposed to march with your toes up, and I was like, how can I do that? And that foot, I could push it and the toes were up.
Cool.
So that was cool just to do that. But
yeah, I have a different gait than I did before, but for 12 years I limped, so I probably have a better gait than I did before.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have a shock absorber in mine, and I have the hydraulic ankle. I have I call it a torsion ball, where I can twist my foot and it'll stay, and then I pick it up and it snaps back into place, so that I can turn and stuff while training dogs. So it's just amazing the stuff we have nowadays to do the things we want to do.
Yeah.
But that's cool that you had the one where you could pop it up and then you could walk on your hill.
I can do what I needed to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great stories there. We will come back and we're going to talk some more in our next one about dating. So everybody stay tuned to our next one. Thanks for tuning in, and we will be right back.